In today's hyperactive news cycle, rumors can spread faster than facts, especially when they involve big names and hot-button issues. This Christmas Eve, a viral claim says former President Trump has filed a major Second Amendment lawsuit against Washington, D.C. But the truth is more complicated, and more important. While the rumor is false, Trump's legal battles are very real, but they're about voting rights, not gun rights. These lawsuits are shaping the future of American democracy, focusing on voter registration, election integrity, and the balance of state and federal power. The real legal fights are complex, with far-reaching consequences for every voter. Today, we'll separate fact from fiction, examine the actual lawsuits, and explore why rumors like this catch fire. In an age of misinformation, understanding the real story is a civic duty. Let's dive in. Why does a Second Amendment rumor grab so much attention? The answer lies in the deep roots and ongoing controversy surrounding this single line in the Constitution. For many Americans, the Second Amendment is more than just a legal phrase. It's a symbol of freedom, identity, and for some, a core part of what it means to be American. But for others, it's a source of anxiety and debate, especially as gun violence and mass shootings continue to make headlines. Because the amendment itself is one of the most debated lines in the Constitution. Its wording is famously ambiguous, leading to passionate arguments on both sides about what the founders truly intended. Ratified in 1791, it reads, "A well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms, shall not be infringed." These 27 words have sparked centuries of legal and cultural debate, with every word scrutinized by scholars, politicians, and citizens alike. For centuries, Americans have argued, is this about state militias or individual gun ownership? The debate isn't just academic, it shapes laws, elections, and even the way people see themselves and their neighbors. In 2008, the Supreme Court's Heller decision settled part of the debate, affirming an individual's right to own firearms for lawful purposes, but also upholding the government's ability to regulate. This landmark case didn't end the controversy, but it did clarify that the right to bear arms isn't unlimited, and that reasonable regulations are constitutional. Washington, D.C., with its strict gun laws, has often been at the center of these legal battles. The city's unique status as the nation's capital and its history of high-profile cases make it a frequent flashpoint in the national conversation about gun rights. Any lawsuit by a figure like Trump against D.C. would be headline news, which is why rumors about it spread so easily. The combination of a polarizing political figure and a hot-button issue like gun rights is irresistible to both the media and the public. But as we'll see, the real legal action is happening elsewhere. While the Second Amendment remains a powerful symbol, the courts are currently focused on other pressing constitutional questions. The Second Amendment remains a lightning rod, but today's courtroom fights are about voting, not guns. Issues like election integrity, voter access, and ballot security are now at the forefront of legal battles shaping American democracy. Understanding this context helps us see why the rumor took off. In a climate where misinformation spreads quickly, stories that tap into deep-seated fears or beliefs can go viral in an instant. Now, let's look at how lawsuits actually work, and what really happens when a case makes its way through the American legal system. Lawsuits are how Americans resolve disputes, whether over rights, money, or government action. The plaintiff files a complaint, the defendant responds. The goal, a court decision that resolves the conflict. Sometimes plaintiffs want money, but often, especially in civil rights cases, they seek a court order to stop or require certain actions. To sue, you need standing, proof you're directly affected. Most cases settle before trial, but every lawsuit aims for a binding judgment. In today's political climate, lawsuits are a key tool for shaping policy and protecting rights. Let's turn to the real legal drama: voting rights. In the heart of Washington, D.C., a high-stakes courtroom battle is unfolding, one that could shape the very foundation of American democracy for years to come. The most significant Trump-related lawsuit in D.C. this year isn't about guns, or even the economy. It's about who controls American elections, and how the rules of voting are set and enforced. The League of Women Voters, a historic organization dedicated to protecting voting access, sued after Trump's executive order tried to impose strict new federal rules on voter registration and mail-in ballots. Their lawsuit argued that these changes would make it harder for many Americans to participate in elections. The executive order demanded proof of citizenship to register, set a national mail-in ballot deadline, and gave federal officials sweeping new powers over voting machines, measures that could have far-reaching consequences for millions of voters. Civil rights groups and voting advocates argued this overstepped presidential authority and violated long-standing laws meant to make voting easier and more accessible, especially for marginalized communities. On October 31st, a federal judge blocked the order, ruling that the president can't unilaterally rewrite election rules. The decision underscored the importance of checks and balances in the American legal system. This was a major win for voting rights advocates and a significant setback for the administration's push to centralize election control. The ruling sent a clear message about the limits of executive power. The case shows the real stakes, not just gun rights or partisan politics, but the fundamental rules of democracy itself. It's about who gets a voice and how that voice is heard. These legal battles are quietly shaping how Americans vote, and, crucially, who gets to decide the rules of the game. Every court decision sets a precedent for future elections. The outcome affects every voter, not just those in D.C. From small towns to big cities, the ripple effects of these rulings will be felt nationwide, influencing elections for generations. It's a reminder that the most important courtroom fights aren't always the ones that make the loudest headlines. Sometimes, the future of democracy is decided in quiet courtrooms, far from the spotlight. The future of American democracy is being decided in cases like this, where the right to vote and the power to shape our country hangs in the balance. As we move forward, let's look at another front in this ongoing legal war for the soul of American democracy. In September, the Trump Justice Department sued Oregon and Maine, not over voting rules, but to access their full, unredacted voter rolls. The DOJ wanted names, birth dates, driver's license numbers, even partial social security numbers, claiming it was needed to enforce federal election laws. State officials refused, citing privacy laws and warning of a chilling effect on voter registration. Oregon's Secretary of State called it a federal overreach and vowed to fight in court. This clash highlights the tension between federal oversight and state authority in elections. Critics say it's about building a national voter database. The administration says it's about preventing fraud. The courts must now decide where the line is drawn. Voting rights aren't the only battleground. In November, the United Farm Workers Union sued the Trump administration over a new rule slashing wages for agricultural guest workers. The union argues the rule illegally undercuts both foreign and U.S. farm workers, violating wage protections and proper procedure. The case centers on the H-2A visa program, which sets pay rates to protect domestic workers. The lawsuit claims the administration's changes make it easier to hire cheaper foreign labor, hurting American workers. This is another example of how executive actions are being challenged in court, not just on voting but on labor and economic rights. The legal system is the front line for these high-stakes policy battles. Now, let's return to the rumor that started it all. So, is Trump suing D.C. over gun laws? The answer is no. A review of court records and major news outlets shows no such lawsuit exists. Why do rumors like this spread? Because they're plausible, emotionally charged, and fit familiar narratives. D.C. has strict gun laws. Trump is a vocal gun rights supporter. It's a story that feels true, even when it isn't. Social media amplifies these claims, often without context or verification. Once a rumor takes off, it's hard to correct. That's why media literacy and fact-checking matter more than ever. Always look for evidence, court documents, reliable news, direct statements. If you can't find them, treat the claim as unverified. Knowing the difference between real and fake legal battles is essential for informed debate. As we wrap up, it's important to separate fact from fiction. The Trump administration's most significant legal battles aren't about a dramatic Second Amendment showdown in D.C., as some headlines might suggest. Instead, the real legal fights are centered on voting rights and labor policy, issues that directly impact the daily lives of millions of Americans and the very foundation of our democracy. These lawsuits aren't just political theater, they have real, tangible consequences for how we vote, how we work, and how our voices are heard in society. The outcomes will shape the rights of workers, the accessibility of the ballot box, and the future of civic participation. The administration's strategy is clear. Use executive power to reshape the rules, often pushing the boundaries of what the law allows. This approach can create uncertainty and spark intense debate about the limits of presidential authority. That's where the courts come in. Judges are stepping in to review and sometimes restrain these actions, weighing in on everything from voter registration requirements to wage protections for workers, while rumors and speculation often thrive on simplicity and emotion. The real story is found in the details, buried in legal briefs, court rulings, and the careful arguments made by lawyers and judges. Don't let political fiction or sensational headlines distract you from the facts that truly shape our future. It's easy to get swept up in the noise, but the truth is often more complex and nuanced. Clarity and accuracy are essential for meaningful debate and informed decisions. When we take the time to understand the facts, we empower ourselves and our communities to make choices that matter. The legal system runs on evidence and reasoned argument. As citizens, we should strive to do the same, questioning, researching, and seeking out the truth. By focusing on what's real and verifiable, we can better protect our rights, strengthen our democracy, and ensure that our voices count. Thanks for watching. Remember to stay curious, stay critical, and above all, stay informed. The future depends on it.